Tensions flaring here in Ottawa today as hundreds of protesters and counter-protesters faced off downtown over LGBTQ2S plus rights. Police, including officers mounted on horses, keeping the two sides separated along Wellington Street. Good evening. Thousands of people rallied in cities right across Canada today to protest and counter-protest.
It all centered around whether schools should teach gender ideology and how teachers should refer to transgendered youth. Here's a look at the crowd on Parliament Hill earlier today. Police have not provided an estimate on how many people gathered in the area, but hundreds of people were in attendance for both the protest and the counter-protest. CTV's Natalie and Rooy was reporting on the protest all day and joins us live in studio. Natalie?
Well, Graham, this all started as a march that organizers called the 1 Million March for Children, with demonstrators opposed to teaching LGBTQ2S plus issues in schools. Quickly, a counter-protest also formed and gained traction in the downtown core. Ottawa police say 2 people have been arrested for inciting hatred at the 1 Million March for Children protest, and a 3rd person was arrested for causing a disturbance.
2 groups of people with very different messages. A protest and counter-protest at Parliament Hill Wednesday.
Trans rights are human rights. In Ottawa and Canada and around the world, we can't be passive anymore for people that are promoting hate.
Police separating both sides, each group in the hundreds, yelling and chanting at each other from across Wellington Street. It started with a group organizers call the 1 Million March for Children, a demonstration opposed to teaching LGBTQ2S plus issues in schools.
Trying to change the system. They're trying to introduce things that go against the grain. And it's time for Canadians to basically take back our institutions.
Some also protesting gender-neutral washrooms and children changing their pronouns in schools.
Kids shouldn't be allowed to change their genders without their parents knowing and change their pronouns. It's really concerning what's happening in the school board.
We have a policy that supports the rights of trans students. Trans students have autonomy. They have the ability to decide when it is the best for them to come out.
Counter-protesters waved pride flags and held signs that said "Protect Trans Kids," while others held signs with slogans that included "Leave the kids alone."
Throughout the counter-protest and protest, there was a significant police presence, with officers keeping both sides separate. Support coming in from Toronto Police as well as other neighboring jurisdictions.
The commotion shut down Wellington Street for hours, causing traffic disruptions. Officers on horses standing by. The demonstrations remained largely peaceful, but 3 people were arrested as both sides made sure their voices were heard.
It's really important for trans kids and kids in the queer community to be seen and recognized. And I'm a teacher, I work in classrooms. I want to know that someone's rooting for them.
We don't like these things to be discussed in the school for our kids.
The march comes on the heels of months of cultural battles in the U.S. and Canada, particularly involving transgender people and gender-affirming care for minors.
Now, federal politicians have noted a rising tide of hatred against the LGBTQ2S plus community and transgender people in Ottawa. Hate-motivated crimes rose more than 23% in the first half of this year, with Jewish people and the LGBTQ2S plus people being the most targeted, according to Ottawa Police. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Natalie Van Rooy live for us tonight. Thank you.